The superiority complex is a psychological condition in which an individual views themselves as exceptionally superior to others, with an exaggerated self-esteem and an inflexible belief in their own superiority in all areas. This leads to contempt towards others and an inability to accept criticism or different points of view. On the other hand, the God complex is an extreme variant in which the person perceives themselves as omnipotent or invincible, constantly seeking validation and acting grandiosely. Both complexes can generate interpersonal problems and negatively affect the lives of the individual and others. Recognizing and addressing these issues is crucial to promoting healthy relationships and a balanced sense of self-esteem. The God complex refers to an extreme psychological state in which individuals perceive themselves as possessing divine or godlike powers, placing them above all others in humanity. They hold the belief that they are capable of taking extreme risks and disregarding societal norms and rules. Individuals with a God complex often exhibit a profound sense of entitlement, feeling as though the world revolves around them and that they are entitled to special treatment or privileges. A common diagnosis associated with a God complex is narcissistic personality disorder, NPD, characterized by a pervasive pattern of grandiosity, a need for admiration, and a lack of empathy for others. Unlike individuals with a superiority complex, those with a God complex typically exhibit an even greater lack of empathy, often demonstrating a complete disregard for the feelings and needs of others. This lack of empathy sets individuals with a God complex apart from those with a superiority complex, as it reflects a deeper level of narcissism and an inability to relate to or connect with others on an emotional level. This can lead to destructive behaviors and interpersonal conflicts as individuals with a God complex prioritize their own desires and ambitions above all else, often at the expense of others' well-being. Recognizing the presence of a God complex is essential for effective intervention and treatment, as it can have profound implications for the individual's mental health and their relationships with others. The inferiority complex represents the antithesis of the superiority complex. It's a prevalent psychological condition wherein individuals perceive themselves as unworthy or less capable than others. This distorted self-image leads them to believe that they are inherently inferior, which can severely impact their self-esteem and confidence. Individuals with an inferiority complex may engage in behaviors aimed at compensating for their perceived inadequacies. Despite achieving significant accomplishments, they may still feel inadequate and believe that they haven't achieved enough success. This perpetual feeling of inadequacy and dissatisfaction can lead to resentment towards others who they perceive as more successful or capable. Furthermore, the inferiority complex often results in avoidance of social interactions. Individuals may fear judgment or rejection from others, believing that they will inevitably fall short of expectations. This avoidance can hinder personal and professional growth, as well as lead to feelings of loneliness and isolation. It's important to recognize that an inferiority complex is a psychological construct rooted in distorted perceptions rather than objective reality. Addressing this complex typically involves challenging and reframing negative beliefs about oneself, building self-confidence through positive reinforcement and validation, and seeking support from mental health professionals or support groups. By addressing the underlying issues contributing to the inferiority complex, individuals can cultivate a healthier sense of self-worth and improve their overall well-being. The persecution complex is a prevalent psychological phenomenon in contemporary society, particularly in fast-paced and competitive lifestyles. In today's world, where individuals are often driven by ambitious goals and a desire to achieve success quickly, Many people develop a heightened sense of paranoia and fear that others are out to harm them. Individuals with a persecution complex believe that they are constantly under threat, even when evidence suggests otherwise. This belief is typically irrational and exaggerated, leading them to view everyone around them with extreme suspicion and distrust. They may interpret innocent actions or neutral situations as potential threats, further reinforcing their sense of persecution. While the persecution complex can affect people of any gender, it is often associated with women due to societal factors and cultural narratives that perpetuate fear and vulnerability among women. For example, a woman walking alone at night may irrationally perceive anyone walking behind her as a potential stalker or assailant, despite there being no evidence to support this belief. This complex can have significant implications for individuals' mental health and well-being, leading to heightened anxiety, social isolation, and difficulty forming trusting relationships. Addressing the persecution complex typically involves challenging irrational beliefs, learning coping strategies to manage anxiety, and seeking support from mental health professionals or support groups. By addressing the underlying issues contributing to the persecution complex, individuals can develop a more balanced and realistic perception of the world around them, leading to greater peace of mind and overall satisfaction in life. The parental complex is a term that refers to dynamics observed during the phallic stage of psychosexual development around 3 years of age, in which children start developing special affinities towards their parents. This complex is illustrated by the notions of daddy's girl or mama's boy, where a child, regardless of gender, might unconsciously adopt exaggerated traits and attitudes of the opposite sex parent, often as a result of their upbringing. This complex is intriguing and not fully comprehended in psychology. Its roots are traced back to Greek mythology, with the story of Oedipus, who unknowingly killed his father and married his mother, serving as a foundational tale. The counterpart narrative is that of Electra, who harbored a similar thematic essence. The Madonna complex is characterized by a polarized view of women, commonly observed in men struggling to maintain committed sexual relationships. This complex leads to dichotomous perceptions of women, categorizing them as either pure and virtuous, Madonna, or as morally corrupt and sexually promiscuous. Men with this complex find themselves in a paradoxical situation where they may desire and pursue sexual relationships with women they find attractive, yet struggle to form respectful, long-term partnerships with them. These men might engage sexually with women they consider attractive, but do not view them as suitable for a more permanent marital relationship. This complex has garnered attention in various online communities, particularly in discussions surrounding Sigma males and their approach to relationships and women. Guilt complex refers to a psychological state wherein individuals excessively blame themselves for any negative outcomes or events. They exhibit heightened self-criticism and assume responsibility for all misfortunes, maintaining a persistent belief that they have done or will do something wrong. This tendency leads them to be overly sensitive to others' opinions and invest significant efforts into rectifying perceived wrongs. This complex can significantly impact individuals' mental well-being, often leading to heightened anxiety, self-doubt, and difficulty in accepting oneself. Addressing the guilt complex typically involves challenging irrational beliefs, fostering self-compassion, and learning healthy coping mechanisms to manage feelings of guilt and self-blame. Seeking support from mental health professionals or support groups can also be beneficial in addressing underlying issues contributing to the guilt complex and promoting emotional healing and growth. Martyr Complex describes a person who seeks attention and sympathy by portraying themselves as a victim. They prioritize others' needs above their own to the extent of neglecting their own well-being. Such individuals persistently engage in self-sacrificing behaviors, often denying their own needs to serve others, even at great personal cost. For instance, in family dynamics, a person may choose to undertake a task themselves despite their unhappiness because they distrust others' ability to complete it satisfactorily. They then complain about the burden rather than delegating. Similarly, in friendships, someone might go along with activities they dislike only to later resent their friend for not considering their preferences. They may also offer support when their friend is in need, but feel slighted if the favor is not returned to the same degree. Subgroups of the Martyr Complex may involve willingly enduring suffering in the name of love or duty, potentially leading to self-harm if attention is not received.